All right, so like I was saying, a lot of those people will actually seek you out because we are often seen as the linchpin. So it's not uncommon to have a mortgage broker come to you and want to take you to lunch one day and say, you know, if you've got a guy that you're buying a house and needs a mortgage, you can call me. And theoretically, the quid pro quo, or you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, works that way as well. You know, if he gets somebody that wants to get a mortgage but hasn't talked to a real estate professional yet, they will call you and go, hey, use Raymond, I like him, he's a good guy, and I'm supposed to say, hey, use Jake, and there's all kinds of stuff. Home inspectors kind of do the same thing. Appraisals never will. Like I said, they don't work for you, so they don't really want your business. They want to be in with the banks. Now, this is a professional organization. I have my personal thoughts on this, and I am going to share them with you because I believe that I am the world's foremost authority on my opinion, and I believe everyone is entitled to it. No, I'm joking. No, I'm not. I want you to think of this like a union. That's the best way that kind of helps you remember. All right? We have a local union, we have a state union, we have a national union. There are many local unions throughout the state. Ours is called MIBOR, M-I-B-O-R, which stands for Mid-Indiana Board of Realtors. Used to stand for Metropolitan Indianapolis Board of Realtors, but they have expanded so big that they now take up a lot of the counties right in the middle of the state. That's our local. There's one in Bloomington, there's one in Columbus, Indiana, there's one in Lafayette, there's one in Richmond. So those are all local unions. As a member of this local, I do not get to see the other local unions' MLS system. You will find out, and we'll get to this later, that is probably going to be a problem. So if a house is listed in Bloomington, while I have a license, well, that's not a good example because I am a member of the Bloomington board. Let's say Richmond. If a house is listed in Richmond, it is a separate local union. It's the Richmond Board of Realtors or whatever it is. If I have a client looking for a house, I cannot see their database, which we call the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service, because I am not a member of that local. Vice versa, if I listed a house in Indianapolis and you are an agent from Richmond, you cannot see my MLS because you're not a member of MIBOR. Now you can join multiple members, and as a managing broker, I have the right to do that. You cannot, unless I do, but you don't have to if I don't. You don't have to join if I do. So for example, I'm the managing broker for the Modulin Group and we are MIBOR members. I also am a member of the Bloomington Board of Realtors, all right, simply because I live down there. So I have both of those. We roll up into, all of those locals roll up into the IAR, which is the Indiana Association of Realtors. Then all of the states roll up into the NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, all right? There are many subcategories of those that you guys can get involved with. Counselors of Real Estate, the Commercial Investment Real Estate Institute, the Institute of Real Estate Management, the Land Group. There's all kinds, GRI, Graduate Realtor Institute, Council of Real Estate Specialists. The big one is the Women's Council of Realtors. That's the largest subgroup there is, all right? So, I mean, you can see, we can go back and forth here and look at all of these. And what I'm telling you is, so that's like a subgroup. Now, on the test, there's going to be no question that's going to say, what does CRE mean? Basically, though, I just want you to understand that if you are a left-handed albino real estate agent, there's probably a group for you, or a subgroup category, okay? So, the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, has a code of ethics that we have to abide by. They establish a code of ethics which refers to a system of moral principles, rules, and standards. Now it's funny, and I'm going to say this, and you guys are all going to look at me like I'm an egotistical SOB, but I'm going to tell you now that half the code of ethics don't apply to me because I don't cheat and lie and steal. All right? Your morals should be of higher standard than the code of ethics. The code of ethics are a bare minimum. This is for people that don't know how to behave themselves, in my opinion. You know, you ought to know not to lie about another agent. If you don't, we have a code of ethics for that. So if you don't have your own set of morals and guidance system instilled upon you, they'll do one for you. And think about that. That's all the laws are. The only reason we have a law about you shan't murder is because there are some idiots out there that don't have enough guidance inside of themselves to realize you shouldn't murder somebody. Okay? So half the laws don't apply as long as you are the right person. Don't do stupid crap. Don't lie. Don't cheat. Don't steal. You know, don't tell false untruths. There's all kinds of things. It is established of integrity and competence when dealing with the consumers. How do I treat the consumer? Well, there's obviously a ethics rule that says you have to be fair and honest with a client. Well, duh. You should be fair and honest with everybody. Once again, if you don't have your own set of moral compass installed, that's what these are. They define the conduct in which you will act in front of clients, customers, and other agents. And because of that, the NAR's Code of Ethics is actually broken down into 3 sections. The first section deals with Articles 1 through 9 that tell you how to act in front of your client. Now, we're not going to go through the actual articles. Your broker will go through that with you, okay? But it's things like, and there was a really cool book, and I cannot remember the name of it. It was called Everything I Need to Know I Learned in kindergarten. It's things like don't lie, don't cheat, don't tell don't tell untruths, don't practice law. You know, all of the common things that I think would be common. The second set, or the second group, is duties to the public. That's Articles 10 through 14. And then there are duties to the other realtors on how you act. That's 15, 16, and 17. The thing that I find ironic is we have 9 duties to your clients and only 3 to the other realtors. Okay? So, now, you know, I don't know if I caught it, but I want to make sure I mention it. Let's go back and find out, because there is definitely one other thing I want to talk about when dealing with realtors, is the fact of that word that we were just talking about. The word realtor, R-E-A-L-T-O-R, all capital letters with a little trademark symbol in it. That is a reserved word, and it is owned by the National Association of Realtors. All right? I say it wrong all the time, I'm telling you that. When I used to do radio, I had people call me all the time and they would say, you said realtor, it's realtor. And I would always tell them, that's my southern accent kicking in because I'm from south side of Indianapolis. All right? So the word is a realtor, R-E-A-L-T-O-R, realtor. If you join the National Association of Realtors, you can use the word realtor. A broker, which is another word we use synonymously, is not synonymous. A broker is a level of license. I am a broker level license. I happen to also be a realtor, which means I have joined the member, or I have become a member of the NAR. It is possible, please listen to what I'm telling you. It is possible for someone to become licensed, not join the NAR, i.e. not join the union. They still can get commissions for buying and selling property. They just aren't going through the union channels to do it. They are not, by definition, a realtor. We call them a real estate professional. So like your commercial guys that don't join the NAR, technically they're not realtors. They may be a broker because that's the level of license they hold, but they're not a realtor. So if someone says I'm a realtor and they're using the word correctly, that simply means they're a member of the NAR. All right. Now, in Indiana, it used to be we had two levels of license. We had a salesperson and a broker. Now we all got broker. That's why you guys are going to 90 hours of course. So it was possible to be a salesperson or a broker and a realtor, but you could have been a salesperson or a broker and not be a realtor. You just didn't join the union. Imagine a plumber going to school and getting the knowledge and the ability to be a plumber, but not joining the plumbing union. He can still plumb for a living. He just doesn't get union wages. He doesn't get all the stuff. And trust me, I'm not saying that I'm pro-union. I'm just saying that's a very easy way to understand it. So if you join the NAR, and the only way to join the NAR is you have to join the IAR. The only way to join the IAR is to join your local. So when you go in to join MIBOR, when you pass your license, excuse me, I was going to sneeze. When you join MIBOR, it's going to cost you anywhere from $1,100 to $1,400 the first time. Yeah, pick yourself up. You can get back up in your chair now. Yeah, because one of the things they're not very good at explaining to you is you're actually joining 3 groups at that time. It's not just MIBOR dues, and we say it all the time, my MIBOR dues are, well, actually a portion of that goes to the state and a portion goes to the national. So once you join the local, you automatically get involved in the national and the state. And doing that so allows you to use the word realtor. All right? So make sure you understand that broker is a level of license. The word realtor means you're a member of the NAR. Now there's another group called the Realists. It's the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. It is kind of like a, I don't want to say a competitive group. It was actually designed or created by the minority realtors who thought they weren't getting enough exposure as minorities when the NAR started. So they started their parallel group up. To my knowledge, I don't even know if there's a chapter in this state. I don't know anybody that actually talks about them because now they've all been mainstreamed into the NAR. All right. We're going to talk about several different types of real estate or zoning. And there is a ladder, and technically I think this is upside down. I think that's not even in any order at all, so it doesn't really matter. Residential, that's dwellings 1 to 4 units, or anything designed to have a human occupancy, so houses, doubles, things like that. Commercial, typically when someone says commercial, they mean retail or office, because industrial is usually split out by itself. So you have commercial and industrial. Because of the environmental concerns, it has its own chapter. So industrial is a whole separate zoning other than commercial. Then you have this thing called mixed use. And mixed use is really not a type of property. It is 2 distinct types put together. All right? Very common in almost all your urbanized cities downtown to have shopping on the first floor and offices on the second floor, or shopping and living. That way they can cram more people into a smaller area. That's mixed use. There is no zoning called mixed use. All right? They allow mixed use, but it's like C4 on the bottom and R1 on top. And C4 is not the explosive. Bad example. That's commercial 4 as opposed to commercial 1, commercial 2. All right, and we're not going to learn any of that in here because we will talk about zoning is very dependent upon the municipality. So Greenwood zoning is different than Indianapolis zoning. Trafalgar zoning might even be different than Greenwood, even though they're both in Johnson County. Ag, or agricultural, or farmland, that's usually the lowest of the low. On this ladder, which is what I was going to talk about, you've got ags on bottom because almost everything starts as ag and gets rezoned to something else. And then you have special purpose zoning. Special purpose are things that you may only see 1 or 2 of in an area. Golf courses, government centers, schools, libraries, cemeteries, things like that are probably your special use kind of properties. Now, when it comes to home ownership, there are several things that a lot of people have to get involved with. Most notably, home ownership is one of the benefits of is financial stability. Owning your own home creates an asset. Every time you make a monthly payment, you are more vested in that asset, i.e. called equity, if you remember. It serves as an investment. You can, put your money and you get equity, and if you ever need it, you can actually borrow against that equity. Home ownership also brings a sense of pride and security to the neighborhood. This is my house, my neighborhood. I want to be more vested in it. I want to be more active, as opposed to an apartment complex. So sometimes you guys, as part of your counseling, may discuss the fact of, is home ownership right for you? As a true professional, that is actually a conversation you should have with your client. I understand that we all make money selling homes, but a true professional makes money affecting a person's life. And they could literally do that by telling a client, look, owning a home is not right for you. I understand I won't get paid because you're not going to go buy something, but in the long run, you may tell 4 or 5 people that I talked you out of it and it was the best thing that ever happened, and that I was really looking out for you, and that may come around the pay it forward syndrome. There have been a couple of different people in my career that I told them that buying a house was not right. Military people that weren't sure that they were going to be here for long periods of time. The cost of going in and going out of a home ownership with all the closing costs and all that, to think you're only going to be here a year may not be the right idea. So, you may have the conversation. What's the market like? What's your credit like? What's the financing like right now? All right, all of these may pose issues for you that you may have as a conversation before you even get started. Let's talk a little bit. What's your career goals? What's your life goals? Is this something you want to live down here? Do you have parents that are going to go in a nursing home in Florida next year, so you may have to move back down there? Do you really want to get into a home? All right. So there are some issues that you guys may need to deal with when dealing with the typical resident or the buyer.